ゲームです。みんな必死になって戦って生き残る価値のある大人になりましょう。バトルロワイヤル。
Howdy, howdy, howdy. How's everyone doing today? How is everyone? Transition. Hello. So this is quite an impromptu stream. Sorry I didn't stream at the weekend, but I was at the Scotland Loves Anime Festival, which you see on the screen. And we're going to talk about all the movies that I saw there. I saw 9 movies? If I know how to do math. If I remember how to do basic math of 1 plus 1 plus 1 till I get to all the movies I saw. Yeah, we're gonna talk about every movie I saw at the Scotland Loves Anime Film Festival. It is I believe, according to them, the only anime film festival in the entirety of the UK, and I'm able to attend the Edinburgh side of it. So for people who don't know about Scotland Loves Anime, and especially they are kind of like 2 weeks. It's kind of like 2 weeks, but it's not really 2 weeks. We'll explain in that bit. So the first week is in Glasgow, and the second week is in Edinburgh. However, the Glasgow week, I believe, is just the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, while Edinburgh does the Monday to Sunday. So the Edinburgh has a bit more to show. However, typically the films on between Monday and Thursday, they typically only show one film, and typically it is in some form of part of a retrospective or some sort of theme to it, and they're typically older movies. They aren't necessarily movies that are brand new or part of they aren't necessarily part of the main program, if that makes sense. They're definitely more optional, the Monday to Thursday ones. However, it's sometimes really good to see some older anime films on the big screen. So it's really nice that they have that option to see those. But the main juicy stuff is at the Friday to Sunday showings in both Glasgow and Edinburgh. Typically, Edinburgh gets all of the bigger screenings, I believe. I could be wrong on this, but typically Edinburgh gets all the bigger ones. I could be wrong. While Glasgow, I think, gets a mixture of everything. But I could be wrong though. To put prefaces, because of where I live, I don't really attend the Glasgow site. I don't really know a lot about the Glasgow site. I only really know about the Glasgow site what they advertise in the magazines that they give out and on the site. So if I'm incorrect about the only thing I know for a fact is that Glasgow is a 3-day weekend event, then Edinburgh, which is a 7-day festival leg. Yeah, we're gonna talk about all the films that I saw at Scotland Loves Anime this year. I went on the Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday, and I saw all the movies apart from 2, and I'll explain when we get to those ones why I didn't necessarily see those movies. It'll make more sense why I didn't see the 2 I didn't see. And yeah, so we're just going to go for every film I saw. There's going to be a Best in Fest awards, and we're talking what we did for London. We're going to go for each movie when I saw them. We're going to have a review, star rating, and then we're going to award the Best in Fest award for Scotland Loves Anime. Yeah, let's go down this journey of the animes. So the first film I saw was on Friday, and it was titled, hopefully this works, transitions, was called Hula Fula Dance. This is a movie. So basically there's a lot of background. It follows, so there's a lot of animes that do this. So a lot of animes may take real world events and kind of become promotional materials to hype up a town or to highlight issues, and that's a big thing you'll see in a lot of animes, is that they'll take real world events or they'll be based on stuff that's inspired by real world events and kind of modernizes it. Another film is similar to this. I don't know the full statistics. They kind of there's introductions to all these movies that kind of give a lot more of the background behind the production and stuff by Jonathan Clements who is a famous anime writer, and I think he's going to be doing some of the writing in Arrow Video's Shawscope Volume 2, which is very exciting for the martial art fans out there. Mainly just for 36 Chamber of Shaolin. That movie is an absolute masterpiece, but that isn't an anime. This is Hula Fula Dance. And to say that this did not start the festival off on a good stroke is very much accurate. This film really annoyed me, to be honest. Because there's some moments where it's really good and there's some really heartwarming moments to it, and it's very, I don't want to say cute, but it's very just like, like wholesome and nice. But then there's points where the film just utterly frustrated me, and it all comes down to all the dance stuff. So it's about hula dancing, and basically she's hired to kind of work at like a resort similar to, if you're in the UK, like a Alton Towers or a Alton Towers or a Haven Park, those sort of parks. And she's kind of like, she works like a hula dancer that does like this performances, because they do like performances during the days, kind of like sort of like big like hotel like resorts, something. So like, if for American people, it would be like at Disney. If you go to stay at a Disney hotel, for example, they might have, I don't know if this is the case at Disney hotel, but I'm just going to use Disney as an example. At a Disney hotel, like at near the venue, they might do like, some like live music performances. That's kind of like the same jig with this. And so, and they establish in the movie that like there's like kind of like two parts to it. There's like I can't believe it was 2 or 3 parts to the get a job. There was like an actual audition, like a verbal audition. There was like a physical audition, so like you have to perform a dance routine. So then the main girl gets hired, paired up with the other 4 girls we see on the poster. But then when she like starts to learn the choreography, somehow she develops 2 left feet and cannot do simple dance steps. And it's really infuriating because they established earlier in the movie that she had to do an actual dance exam to get this job. So how can you not pick up simple choreography? Like, you would never be hired if you can't do simple choreography. Like, it's kind of a meme at this point, but like, if you watch like a lot of Dance Moms, how like Abby Lee can ask someone to like, I think it's a pirouette, and off the pirouette she knows just not to take them on. But like, there are some, that's like what people want. Like, when they tell you to do a basic step, like a basic maneuver, like with dance, like, hey, can you do this maneuver for me, like very basic, like a pirouette, for example. They don't want you to just do a sloppy pirouette. Like, they expect like it to be like a 10 out of 10 pirouette every time, like, great like form, not hunched, toes pointed and stuff. So it was really frustrating because it's like, you wouldn't have got this job if you can't do simple choreography. So it's really frustrating watching this movie where she's like struggling and like falling over and just like is struggling to dance. Like, but how did you get the job? You would never be hired if you can't do simple dancing. Like, that's just not the case. And then there's another issue I had, like, because I saw this on like Friday, so there was like kind of like 3 dance issues that I had with the movie. So that was the first one. She would never get hired if she could do basic choreo. Oh, right. This is the key. So this is a scene. So this is a scene later on in the movie. They're gonna do their first routine. So this is kind of like a minor spoiler. I don't consider this a huge spoiler, but minor spoiler. But I don't recommend this movie. So like, it's fine. Where I'm gonna be vague possible to avoid spoilers. They go out on stage and an item that shouldn't be on their costumes is on one of their costumes, and it becomes like a huge joke throughout the movie. But like, that just implies that nobody at the back does like costume checks before they go on stage, which is also kind of a thing that people do. You'll have like someone actually like that isn't yourself check the costume to make sure that it's good to go before you walk up on stage. Like, nobody's just not checking that costume. Like, the fact that no one checked it and she just walked up on stage is like really funny to me. Like, in a way that's like unintentional. And then, and then but the finale's good. I like the finale. It's just really okay. It's just like, is it worth sitting for like, I think it's an hour and 40 minutes? No. It's like, it could have been really great, but I think that all the stuff, because of, I don't want to say I have a dance background, but I kind of like I do somewhat have a dance background and like somewhat of a knowledge. It's not the best of knowledges, but like, I do have some experience behind that side of things, and like I know how some things work. So it was really frustrating to see a lot of stuff that wouldn't happen happening, and that was just really annoying. It really dragged the overall film down for me, and it's like there's a lot of other burning questions. Like there's a whole plot line involving the main character's sister that, while addressed, it is. I feel like it never goes really anywhere. It's like it does by the end go somewhere, but like it's like it's like they want to be this fun movie, but then they keep addressing this serious issue, but like they address it so like thinly that it's like like there's no like emotion to any of those scenes, because like they keep talking about this person that's no longer here, but they don't explain how she died, like why she died. Like you kind of like generally guess how she died, but it's a bit like it feels like that there are two more of like this is gonna be a cute film about hula dancing. We can't have serious emotions in these scenes. You know, we can't be too serious for too long. And you know, and also the CG in this movie is kind of bad, especially from when you go from like the traditional more anime style animation to CG. The transition is very jarring. However, there are some good moments to it. Some of the supporting cast it's fun to watch. I think some of the supporting cast are like quite interesting. We have I can't remember this girl's name, but she's actually from Hawaii, and she comes over and she kind of speaks like in the anime voice, like with the high pitched anime voice, which leads to some really funny moments. Uh, and it deals with like anxiety and like overcoming your fears, and there's some good ones like, but like when the supporting cast is more interesting than your main character, and like I wish that it was more about these four girls. I think that's a huge problem. I think I get this film 2.5 stars. I'd lean more negative on it. It is at the end of the day kind of inoffensive, but like I don't know. I would never watch it again. So yeah, 2.5 stars for Hula Dance. So the next movie I saw, which I'm gonna put movie with an asterisk, is a short film I saw, was Garden of Remembrance. This is the new short film by Nanako Yamada, who directed some of the best one of the best anime that's ever made, debatably, like one of the best in a silent voice. This was actually the world premiere of this short film, and Nanako Yamada was actually in attendance for the screening. She did a long Q&A because the film is only 20 minutes long. I think just under 20 minutes long, actually. And I'm not really going to say much about it. It is a very interesting experience. I didn't rate this movie on Letterboxd because it is a short film, and I don't have, short films can either go one or two ways. They can either be very, like, plot focused or become more abstract with a lot more hidden meanings and things that require multiple viewings. And this leans into that latter category where you'll have to watch it multiple times to fully get what she was going for. But the animation is gorgeous. There's some great music in it. Nanako Yamada is generally one of the best directors in anime working today. I absolutely adore her. It was awesome seeing her like somewhat in person. If you ever talk to me, you ever ask me like one of my favorite movies of all time, A Silent Voice is a film that greatly impacted my life. It is a true masterpiece of cinema, in my opinion. And I would recommend A Silent Voice to literally everybody on this earth. So it was just really cool to like see her and like when she talked about like her thought process and stuff. So it was more like the overall experience of seeing her was like amazing. I think that upon watching it, I was like, there's aspects of the short that I find to be really amazing, and there's aspects that left me head scratching. But I wonder if, like, since I've seen it once, I go in with the next eyes on the second watch. Hopefully, I don't know how they're gonna release this, but it's a fun watch. There's not really much to talk about because it's only 15 minutes long, and I can't really talk about it because I think as soon as I talk about it, I kind of you inherently spoil it. But check this out whenever it ever becomes available. I'll be like, with a lot of anime stuff, it's a coin toss whether it'll get picked up for distribution or not. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to say the least. What's gonna happen with this release? All right, so So the next film I saw, this was on day 2. So the last film on Friday was an Evangelion movie, and it's like Evangelion 3.1. Is it 3.1 plus 1? The end of days or something stupid like that. I'm gonna make sure of it. Evangelion. Oh, I tell a lie. It was Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.01 thrice upon a time. That's a mouthful. So that had showings as Gollum's anime. However, due to the fact that I've never watched Evangelion in my life, I haven't watched the show, any of the movies. Don't think I should go and see the final installment of the franchise. I think that would be really stupid of me, and I think it would do disservice to that movie. So I didn't see that, so I went home after Garden of Remembrance to look into the second day of festivities, which was my next film. The start of the day was Break of Dawn. This is a film about. So this film takes place in not the distant future. It takes place. Is it 27 years from 2022? I think so. I think that's what I remember. I'm gonna make sure that I'm right. And it follows a group of 3 kids who, due to the Autobot, which is this, they call these Autobots. Hasbro better not be coming after this film production. So after like their Autobot helper is like kind of like possessed by a spaceship, they decide to help the spaceship go back into space. That's kind of the general gist of the movie. And it also aligns with a comet that comes back every 27 years, I believe. This film is, I'm going to be truly honest, there's some really great setups and payoffs in this movie. So there's some great setups in the first act to come back in the next act. There's some really great moments to do with. There's some really great moments with the. Great moments like the evolution of tech and people kind of like when tech is based on other tech, they kind of like don't really think it's cool because it's inspired by other tech. So for example, in the movie, the Autobot is based off the same AI that's used in a telescope, but because it's not the telescope AI, the kids kind of like not doesn't find it cool to begin with. It's like this isn't the base AI. This is just some boring helper AI that constantly says to my mom, and I find that quite interesting, especially with the advancement of tech. Like, are we ever gonna experience that? Like, that's a really good future planning. Like, are we ever gonna get to a point where there's tech that we like more industrial style tech that is way cooler than the stuff that we get, and could that be a thing of the future? There's some interesting aspects to do with like bullying in the future as well, and aspects like that. However, there's some really I think there's also some great setups and payoffs. There's some kind of dumb setups and payoffs involving the bullying that I'm not gonna spoil, but it kind of leads to a moment that's meant to be like, it's really very serious what happens, but at the same time I'm like, it's all the bully's fault. Like, what does she expect to happen? Like, I don't understand why when someone comes in all hostile and aggressive, like, it's the other person's fault. Like, it's really weird. And the film is, I'm gonna be honest, this film is, I didn't realize it at the time. This film could definitely be edited down a bit. It is a bit slow. I didn't realize it was 2 hours long until I was over with, which you could view as a positive, but it's like I wish it was a bit tighter, because like there are moments where like scenes kind of feel redundant, and like there'll be moments where like there's a moment where something bad happens and it halts their plans, but not for long, because we got a movie to get to, so don't know why they included that to begin with. It's a bit weird. And like there's some other characters that kind of, I wonder if it was because this might be wanted to be a TV show over a movie where characters are kind of just forgotten about going into the third act, and it's like really weird. but those issues are, I think, very minor. Like, it is a long movie, and I think that you probably could cut it down, and like, you know, it would be a nice smoother experience. But like, I think that, and like some of the other story issues like are like not huge big problems. It's just, I think this film just takes a while to really get going, and it finds its footing by when you get to the third act, it's really rewarding. But like that first act takes a while to like before you become really invested in the plan, because when the plan fully become when like they kind of like go on about the plan and what the plan's required, heading into the second act, or like that's when the film becomes really interesting. And then when the drama heats up in the third act, it becomes even more interesting. It's like that first act is like really like kind of annoying, to be honest. It kind of is. It's not the best experience, but I still overall think it's a really solid movie. I think it's a really fun movie. It's one of those movies that it's not a hard watch whatsoever. It is just a nice watch if you want to watch some anime about kids trying to get an alien spaceship back into space. I give this 3.5 stars. It's a really good movie. It's really good. It's pretty solid, honestly. And also, this is a big thing. I think the animation in this movie is really good. I think the film looks stunning. There's some really great moments involving. There are some great CG moments in this, and it's really solid. I think that the character designs look. I really like the character designs, and yeah, everything looks nice. I really like how the Allbot is clearly CG throughout the entire movie, and it's with like these more traditional anime style characters. However, the Allbot doesn't like stick out as being like bad CG wise, which I think is a huge positive for it. Because if that like kind of like stuck out, because it's in a lot of scenes with more traditional animated stuff, then it could have hampered the film a lot. But the fact that it blends really nice into the movie, it makes it feel believable. But yeah, it's a solid movie. I think it's definitely worth to watch if it becomes available. Who knows if it'll become available though? Who knows? The next film I saw was Her Blue Sky, this movie was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely loved this movie. This movie, basically, it follows a teenage girl who's becoming a bass player, and when she was younger, she was very much kind of like inspired by her sister's like friends who were in a band. So you have Shino here, who was the guitar player, there's a bass player, and there was the drummer. And when she was a little kid, she's like, I want to be the bass player, and then Shino here's like, yo, when you get older and become good, you can join my band and be a bass player. Due to a tragedy, the sister, who was going to move to Tokyo with Shino, can't go and has to stay and look after the sister because she's still a young girl. So then, kind of like we split off, and then we follow, kind of like when she's now, I believe, 16 years old. She could be a bit older. A lot of my memory of like what happened, some of my opinions might be a bit hazy. I need to start writing down notes after I watch movies, but I didn't realize I was going to do a whole review like this, so I'll learn for next year. So she wants to become like a big bass player, and like then upon hearing this, they find out that a famous musician is coming to their town, and which brings back the older Shino to come back into town. But what makes this whole film really interesting is that within like the old, like kind of like their old band room, the younger version of Shino is still there and still present, and actually can interact with the older versions of the characters, but only within the shelter. And it kind of becomes a film about how people can, how people grow up and change and not necessarily become better people, and how we overcome that. And it's a love story, and it's just fabulous. It's like, I feel like going into more of it would kind of like ruin the movie, but like the film overall is great. I love the instrument playing is really well done. Like when it comes to the animation, especially when she plays bass and like all the guitar stuff, it looks really great. Like especially when they play instruments, like that's quite hard to like. When you think about like when you see someone like playing guitar and stuff, or like that's really hard to like animate because you gotta make sure their fingers are in the right chords for the notes so it looks believable. Like, you don't want someone doing like really high pitched notes when they're at the top of the fretboard, because the top of the fretboard is not where the high notes are. It's at the bottom of the fretboard and stuff. But all of it looks really nice, and the way they the animate stuff is really great. The drumming looked absolutely fantastic. The whole movie looks absolutely gorgeous. It is a beautifully animated movie. The character designs are fantastic. Everyone looks incredible. The soundtrack is slaps. The whole movie is great. It's just a fantastic movie. It flies by. I think it's like an hour and 40 minutes long. It absolutely flew by. It was such a joyful experience. I wish I could own this movie. Absolutely fantastic. I gave this movie 4.5 stars. It's absolutely fantastic. It should be on everyone's watch list. This movie is fantastic. I don't know how many times I can say the word fantastic, but it's so good. It's so good. Highly recommend this movie. The next film I saw, which was the last movie of the Saturday showings, was Tunnel of Summer. Is it Tunnel of Summer Exit of Goodbyes? Is that what it's called? It has a stupid title. It really does have a stupid title. Diary. I'm looking at my letterbox. The Tunnel of Summer, The Exit of Goodbyes. So, this is a film about a tunnel that supposedly grants wishes. However, if you go into the tunnel, supposedly you travel 1,000 years into the future, and it follows our two main leads as they try to uncover the truth about this tunnel, and they explore the tunnel. This film is... I'm going to be honest, I think this film's great. I think the animation is beautiful. It's another film that actually I think blends like more traditional animation style and CG very well. But I think we gotta address the elephant in the room. Without spoiling it, the ending is problematic, and depending on how you enjoy this film will depend on how much you can overlook the problematic ending. Because the ending is, for some people, could be very yikes. I didn't find it to be a huge issue. I still think it's a problem, but it's not a huge... Like, I don't think it didn't ruin the movie for me, but the ending can really, like, it can either, like, make you hate the movie, or, like, I think that everyone will find that the ending is not that, it's problematic, but yikes, and it kind of makes you leave with, like, a weird taste in your mouth sort of feeling, but depending on how weird that taste in your mouth is going to vary between people to people. I found it to be a bit weird, but like I was gone within a few seconds. The movie is genuinely like has some amazing moments to it. Has some great, some really funny moments, some great drama. The two main leads are excellent. I think that the relationship they form over the course of the movie is genuinely believable and really interesting and satisfying to watch. There's a lot of anime stuff, and we'll talk about this later for another film, where I feel like sometimes that the leads, it's kind of the cliche, like the nerdy guy that no one think that, will never find the hot girl, finally gets the hot girl and stuff, and it's like, and like, I'm not saying that's the case in this movie, but it's like, it's really hard to make people who are, like, especially we'll say in the realm of animation, like, seeing, like, it's really hard for two attractive people to come across, like, to have, like, a good relationship and be, like, because, like, for example, you can put these people together solely on looks because they're both equally attractive, right? In the realm of the world of review and stuff, like, of course, two attractive people are gonna get on with each other. They're attractive. So it's like, it's forming, like, having their bonds be relatable and how they actually become good friends to be relatable. I think it does a great job at forming the relationship in a unique way, and I think that's totally believable. The main girl is genuinely great. I think that she's the better character out of the two. The main lead is I guess he's all right, but like I think the main girl overshadows him so much more, and I think that's why it makes the ending a bit even weirder. Uh, there's some great messaging in the ending as well. However, like I said, you're just gonna leave with a bad taste in your throat. It's a great movie though. It's like really hard. It's like one of those things when 80% of your movie is great, it's the 20% that's like kind of meh gonna really ruin your experience, and that's gonna vary from person to person. I think that's a beautifully animated movie. It is gorgeous to look at. I think there's not a single ugly frame in this movie. In all honesty, uh, the exploration of the tunnel plot wise is very fascinating with experiments, and it's generally fun. It has a great pace. It flies by. I think it's like an hour and just over an hour and 20 minutes long. And yeah, it's a really great movie. I highly recommend it. To be honest, even with the weird ending. So I give this 4 stars. It's a great movie. Don't know how it's gonna get released. Who knows? But yeah, it's a great movie, but weird ending. The next movie that I saw, that was the last movie on the Saturday, was the Tunnel Summer Exit Goodbyes. The last movie on that date was a Gundam movie, but I have no interest in Gundam, so I didn't go. The next movie I saw was Goodbye Donglese. I'm not really going to talk about this much because I talked about it when I saw it at the Edinburgh Film Festival. It's still fantastic. It was my favorite film at the festival in Edinburgh. We'll get to. It is technically my favorite film of the festival, festival, but we'll get to the best of fest later. It's fantastic. Everyone should go and watch it. 4.5 stars. Everyone should go and watch this movie. It's fantastic. One of the best movies of the year. The next film was after Goodbye Donglese was Blue Thermal, and this follows our main protagonist as she joins a university, and then she joins a gliding club, and over the course of the movie becomes a fantastic or a great glider. I'm gonna be honest. This film really feels like they crammed an anime into a movie because there are so many plot points that feel kind of skipped over, and I thought that there was a whole scene missing that I completely either I blanked I got bamboozled because I was like it was like 11 o'clock, or it was like still early. It was like a 2 o'clock showing. I was a bit still not fully awake at this point because I've had the bad sleep schedule. But there's plot points where they go, we need to do these 2 things, and then they did one of those things, and they goes, all right, I've done the things you asked me to do, and I'm like, wait, what? No, you didn't. What's happening? I never felt like it. It feels like it's really rushed. It feels like they crammed down an 8-hour show into a 2-hour or an hour and 40-minute movie, and it's I don't know. I just wish there was more to it. It's a great movie. It's similar to Break of Dawn, which is a film that it's really just wholesome. It's just a fun watch. There's nothing truly serious about it. There's nothing it's just a easy, nice watch. But it's missing the secret sauce to take it from just a great movie to a fantastic movie. And I don't know if that's because it was meant to be. I believe this was one of the few that they called an introduction that it was meant to be a TV show, but then they cut it down to a movie, or then it was turned into a movie where it's I think it should just stay as a TV show. Because it's just lacking something. I don't know what it is. I really don't. I would have to read the source material, because it's based on a manga, I believe. Yes, this is based on a manga that's based on the kind of the mangaka's real life experiences, and I would have to read the manga to get a full understanding of what was removed or changed for the movie. But it's there's moments where I don't really want to spoil, but someone will make a decision, and then a few minutes later, it's just suddenly back doing the thing that he did, even though he said he wasn't going to do it anymore. And I'm like, what? Why did you change this? And it's they do this weird thing with relationships. I don't know if it's a love triangle or not. It's really weird, and I still think it's a great movie, but it's I just wish there was more. It feels like it needed more time. Like it needed more time in the editing. Like in the edit. Like I don't know if like this was their always they in the script or they're like shit. We're just gonna cut this down to be tighter because when the film's doing the gliding sequences, the film is gorgeous. The gliding sequences are stunning to watch. They're genuinely amazing. The animation is top notch throughout, but especially during the gliding sequences, they are genuinely like breathtaking. Like the way the sky looks and like the landscape below is genuinely like stunning. But it's like I just wish there was more. I really wish there was more. And I think that's a sign of a great movie that you want it more. I just think that if there was more, I think if this was like closer to like maybe a 2 hour movie, we could have fleshed out more of the relationships. Got more uh things explored in interesting ways. I just feel like there's some things missing that I think really hurt the movie personally, but I still think it's a solid movie. And one thing I haven't touched about all these movies is the voice acting. Uh, the voice acting, from what I can tell, I'm not a Japanese speaker, so it's hard for me to kind of like review like when I don't really know the language. But all of the voice acting, from what I can tell, is fantastic. I think the voice acting is great across the board. I don't think there was not a single movie where I noticed like a bad voice or could have been like a different choice in voicing. I thought they were all great. But yeah, to like wrap up Blue Thermal, I think this movie is great. The gliding sequences are truly something to behold and fantastic. Kind of like the first half of the movie is genuinely great, but I think by the time you get to the second half, like there's not really much to be. That's like not much that really is narratively unfolds in that it's like truly like gripping. But Blue Thermal, it was a great time. Highly recommend it. I give it this film 4 stars. Pretty great. So the next film I saw was the 7-Day War. This is another film that is I think it's based off a book that is technically inspired by real life events. And I didn't realize there's a character in here that's kind of a spoiler. Quite funny. So this follows a group of teenagers. This group here, for example, who decide to run away for a week for this girl's birthday because her dad is going to become a new shit. What the fuck do they call in Japan? They're like congressman. Oh my god, I forgot what they call them. They're not called congressmen. Shit, I'm gonna have to Google this. This is gonna blow. I really can't remember what they call. They're like political people. I'm genuinely going a blank. This is hilarious. Japanese. What do you call someone in the? Yeah, I know it's the diet. What do you call them? This is becoming a lesson in Japanese politics. Fucking Christ, I'm so stupid. So they're the diet. So they're the diet. So it's the diet. That's what they call their government's the diet, the Japanese diet. What the fuck are they called? I'm so stupid. Alright, doesn't really matter. Member of the Japanese government is her dad, and he's going off to take over a branch of Tokyo. So she's moving away. So they decide to run away to basically like celebrate her birthday and not be with her dad in Tokyo. And then what the fuck is this? Edge application trying to take over my okay. Oh shit, did I actually fucking dox my username by accident? Let's check the VOD. I think I doxed my username. Hilarious. Did I actually do that? That would be fucking hilarious if it did, I'm gonna be honest. Hold on, I'm trying to find it in my VOD. Okay, I found it in the VOD. No, but we're good lads. Did not dox me. So, basically, but then upon going to they decide to go to this abandoned factory. We're going back to the movie. Or this is a movie review show, not checking out my Windows firewall protection thing, which is the doxing me on stream. So they go to this abandoned factory, but upon going to this abandoned factory, they discover that there is a Thai child called Meret, who is basically being chased down by immigration to basically they want to probably kick them out. So they decide to protect the boy across the 7 days to basically so he doesn't so they can find his family, because he believes that his mom and dad are out there somewhere. So they decide to kind of like hold the fort down in the factory so that they can find the person's parents. This film is very good. I think that this film, I think a big issue that I have with this film is that there's a reveal at the end that, while I think is slightly teased, I think that it's a great reveal in essence. I also wasn't necessarily a huge fan of it. I won't go into specific why I didn't like the reveal, but like, you know, it just felt like I don't want to say like a fan service moment, but like I don't know, maybe because like I was also getting late and I was also getting very tired, because people don't realize this, right? Watching films back to back to back is hard work. It is a lot of hard work. Like, you gotta pay attention, actually focus and read subtitles, and it's a lot of hard work. It's not easy to watch 4 films in a day and like still remember all of your criticisms, because at one point they just become a blur. They become a blur. Apart from the last movie that I saw, that film is well and truly baked into my mind about that movie. But like, there's a reveal at the end that I think they do tease slightly, but at the same time, I think that while it is a great reveal, it's like, I don't know, maybe I wanted some love for the main character. He deserved all the love. He's a good boy. He's a great boy. That's all I'll say. The main character deserved a bit more. All the other supporting cast are pretty great. I really like this girl. I think she's pretty pog. Very, very good. I think all the cast are great. They kind of like explore different things, like someone who's inclusive, who kind of like hates everything, but it's like, clearly like it's like finds it hard to enjoy stuff because he like of like family pressure, and he does. It's like there's a lot of things about being true to yourself and not lying to yourself, and being true to that. And I think the film is just generally like wholesome, but like it's tackling this really serious issue with like the whole like immigration aspect, and I'm like, maybe I'm bad. Like I know like Japan and Hong Kong with like the whole China thing is like very different. But like I saw people coming in with like no one's coming in with like a riot shield and a baton. they're just gonna go after these people who are like basically like, if you're harboring a criminal, they're not gonna like just casually walk in, and then when they start to do like more serious stuff, it's like really comical. Like they just start destroying the building there, and like that would never happen. They would get into so much legal shit. Like, yes, how did you get these kids out the building? Yeah, we got a big bulldozer, and we just swung a claw into the side of the building. They would be like, did you check for any structural damages that may cause the building to collapse and kill everyone in sight? I don't think we did. We just thought this would be a good idea to get in. But like, I think overall it's a really wholesome movie. Yet again, wholesome is the key word for a lot of these movies. The film, I think, is generally fun. A lot of when the authorities try to get into the building are really riveting, and the way they kind of like problem solve out of the aspects is really interesting, and the way the characters figure out stuff and it's really great. And I really like. I think the ending is really nice. With but overall, it's a really good watch. I think this is coming out. We got told that in the UK it's coming out on Blu-ray on Boxing Day, so you don't have to really wait long to buy it. And if you're in the UK, if anyone knows what a Japanese politician's called, please let me know. I generally forgot. Because they're part of the Diet, and I'm not going to go over it. I give it 3.5 stars. It's a really good movie. The animation's really nice too, and so is the voice acting. It's really good. And the last movie I saw was Recycle of the Penguin Drum. Movie 1, Train of Something Something. This movie is a fucking... Oh, Jesus Christ. This movie feels like it was written by a 30-year-old, and then some 15-year-old added a bunch of horniness to it, and it made the film overall worse because of the horniness, but they decided not to take out the horniness. They just kept it in because they said, fuck it, we're an anime. There's a lot of scenes in this. By the way, full disclosure, this movie, I gave this 2.5 stars. It's not a good movie, but like there are some moments that are really great. But I'm just gonna spoil the shit out of this movie. So I guess mute for however long till the poster disappears. I'm spoiling until I'm done. This movie is at points an absolute disaster in terms of its messaging and its themage. It is really yikes at points. So a big plot line we follow is that they want to know basically it follows these two brothers whose sister has passed away due to an unknown disease. I think it's cancer, because they talk about tumors, so it's cancer, and they have died. But then this being from another planet or world, don't know what the fuck it is. I don't remember what they said it's from. Basically, it's like, yo, I'll bring your sister back from the dead if you find the penguin drum for me, but you gotta find it. And basically, we think that it's associated to this diary by this girl called Ringo, so you can start there. But during this whole sequence, like, it's like she'll just this penguin drum person like will like shout out like something like and like activate. It's like I can't remember what it is, and she'll like wear like a leotard and like it's like all like jazzy and like it goes like a pop thing, and then at points like for some reason she randomly rips her clothes off to like do something to one of the characters, and I was so confused, and I was like, why is this person getting naked for no reason? There's a lot of like nakedness in this movie. It's very weird. And then I also guess trigger warning for some of the other stuff we're gonna talk about later. There's a trigger warning for this. And then there's stuff involving like a teenage girl going after an older man who is a teacher but not her teacher. They explain that like she was like friends with the older sister, I believe. They kind of like make that attachment dumb, and like her goal is to get pregnant with the teacher character, and it's really weird, and like it's kind of like cringe and like really fucking weird. She's like tries to come up with different forms of love potions, and then she tries to like she literally drugs him to fall asleep, and then is going to like sexually assault him in his sleep, and it's very odd and very disgusting, and this is very dramatic, and I don't understand why they did any of this because it's so weird. It's like so weird. I don't understand why they did this. It's like it's so weird. It's like not even cool, and like I don't mean that like in a fearing, but like there's like some really interesting messaging about in this movie, which I actually do like about the idea of when, especially with the Ringo character, who's deeply like I think it's the whole plot line is problematic in the movie. About the idea if, say for example, if for how parents deal with a loss of a child when they have a new child. So it kind of like explores like the dad, like we see this in a flashback, that the dad's like, yo, we have a new child, we love this child, you know, the other one's gone, we're never gonna get the other one back, we gotta make sure that this is child. And like the mum's on the viewpoint of, well, I miss the other child, and like all that. It's like, and basically wants her to be like the other child, and how like, and the theming of like how sometimes the kid can be the victim of like not being the kid that the other child was, and then kind of like it has to deal with that problematic upbringing. And I think that's a really strong message and a deeply like interesting message to like our theme to explore. But like it feels like it was at points written by like a mature adult, then a 15-year-old just came in and was like, but what happens if we made it weird and like horny as fuck? And it's like super like disgusting, and like it's like I wish that like this subject matter was held like with a more fine-tooth comb. And maybe I don't want to say maybe it is, but from I did more research into this movie because I'm like, this movie is a mess at times with how it's structured. I have no idea what this movie's like genuinely about at points. I'm legit confused. I was dumbfounded, but then I found out it later it's similar to, I'm going to do a transition to the unboxing camera. Oh, we're gonna move this. So it's similar to these movies, the Code Geass movies, and I have the box set here with the the free Code Geass movies. So we have 1, 2, and 3. These are basically like kind of like recap movies. However, from what I've gathered, while I talk about this, I'm gonna show more of the boxing, which comes out like this. Is that they are very similar to these movies, where they are at parts recap movies, but also they're gonna be a sequel to the show, but they're mainly a recap movie. And gonna be honest, I was genuinely confused throughout the entirety of the movie on what the fuck was going on. As we transition back over to screen, like, cause like if it was a recap movie, then it's like it's not really good. It's like then I don't know. I don't think it does a really good job at like being newcomer friendly, and I guess that recap movies don't really need to be newcomer friendly, but at the same time, I feel like they should, because you know there might be people who watch this movie who go to like a festival of who may have never heard that it was a show because I didn't do any research going into it, and like there's some like interesting moments of like direction, how they introduce flashbacks, kind of like at Stop at a Train Station. So they'll like say like, oh, flashback, and it'll be like a train station advertisement or like a subway station, basically saying like this is giving like kind of like context before the flashback. But like, there'll be moments where they do that. We cut back to the present day. They'll do a scene for like 2 minutes, and they'll do another flashback. And the flashback intro stuff literally has a title card every time a flashback comes up, saying like boom, like a bung for like a train sound and flashback. And it's so annoying. It becomes annoying after the 80th time this happens. It's like, I get it, it's a flashback. Like, is there not like a cool way you could have presented this so it's less in your face and like less annoying? And then that's all mixed in with like the creepy sexual assault stuff that's like really bad, and I think like clearly like not handled with like any sort of like respect or like nuance, and like it's really gross and kind of disgusting. And there's like moments like later on where like there's like nudity to like for nudity, and it's like, oh my god, it's like, can we just stop it? Or my senses were overloaded. I was legit at times laughing at what was happening. I had no idea what was going on by the end. The ending made me like audibly like I felt like I had gone through Like, I felt like I was literally like smacked in the face 80 times for the span of 2 hours. Like, I have no idea what happened. I have legit no idea what this movie's about. I have no idea where this movie's gonna go. I don't know how the character's gonna be. It's generally like a mindfuck. I don't know why I gave this 2.5 stars. I think because like there's actually some moments I liked, and also there's some really good comedy in the movie. I will say that's not like luckily got nothing to do with the Ringo character, thank God. But there are some. Well, there's one joke that's part of the Ringo character, but it's not really a part of the main issue with that character. There's some great comedy involving penguins that's adorable and actually really funny, and is like just like silly as fuck, and it did get a couple good laughs. But then like there's a whole plot involving like a potential terrorist attack and stuff, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? This movie is so bizarre. I want to see if I can watch the final part, because this is like a 2-part film, so it's like film 1 and film 2. I might watch film 2 to see what the fuck happens. I'm genuinely excited to see what happens. I don't. It's like, but like, yeah, it's like, I feel like an adult need to write some of the scenes in the script, and they didn't, and they got some teenager to write them. And I think that's the best description of this movie. Is instead of being written like by adults for adults, it feels like it's a show for adults written by like teenagers, or like the teenager selves of adults. And like at that point, it's like, this isn't cool. Like, there's other things I don't really want to talk about. Like, you know, because I think they're too gross to talk about. I might dislike this movie more and more as I think about it. Because I find some of it to be like, if the Tunnel of Summers ending was like problematic, but like not like a way that's like gross. This is definitely the way that problematic that makes you like want to like if Tunnel of Summers was like slightly problematic that just left a weird taste in my mouth. This is like problematic to the extent that like I want to vomit. It's like really like genuinely like fucked some of the moments in this movie, and like not in a way that it's like fucked as in oh my god, this is fucked and shocking, this is like really great drama. It's like fucked in the way that it's like, are we like, it's like I said, like it's a 15-year-old like this. Like, I don't really know. I gave this 2.5 stars. I'll probably lower it to like 2 stars. It's a quite bad movie. It's not terrible. I think it's beautifully animated. Somehow this film's beautifully animated. And I like some of the artistic choices. Especially when it comes to like crowds to stay on budget. They do like, instead of being lazy with like crowd work, they make like kind of like stylistic choices that I really like. But overall, this movie is kind of a mess. But it's like at points it can be really good, but most of the times it's like deeply problematic and deeply kind of bad. So yeah, I'm probably gonna give this 2 stars, honestly. So with that, we are done with all the movies I saw. So I saw 9 movies, I believe. We're done. So now we're gonna go to the Best in Fest award. What is RD Films, aka me, giving Best in Fest? And because I'm gonna put in a rule to the Best in Fest, I'm gonna like kind of like internal rules. And to me, I don't really want to give Best in Fests to films that got Best in Fest at other festivals. I want to showcase different movies and make sure that like the same film isn't winning all Best in Fests. And because of that, the Best in Fest award goes to Her Blue Sky. I gave it to Her Blue Sky over Goodbye Dalgliesh because I didn't really do a Best in Fest award at Edinburgh, but if I did do one, it would have gone to Goodbye Dalgliesh. And I think I talked about that on the Edinburgh stream, that was my favorite movie at the festival. So because of that, I'm going to give it to Her Blue Sky. I thought this movie was absolutely fantastic, and it was the best film I saw at the festival. That didn't already win the award. The best film I saw at the festival was definitely Goodbye Dalgliesh. That movie's fantastic, but this came underneath, just underneath. But yeah, because of the rules that I'm making up, and also I don't want to give like the same, like I don't want to be doing like, for example, there could be crossovers where like there is an anime film that I see at a festival that might go to Scotland's anime, but like I don't want to just be like, if coincidentally that's the best festival movie that festival, that's also the best movie the next festival, if it's still the best. Like, I think I want to showcase different movies, and I want to be like have a different movie out of each festival to really showcase that festival. And if Goodbye Dongley showcased what I loved about Edinburgh, then Her Blue Sky showcased what I love about Skull and Love's anime. But yeah, and that's it. That's it for the stream. Yeah, I'm probably gonna update the title. I'll put a trigger warning, or like I don't know if I should. Like I think I verbally say there's a trigger warning. That should be enough because like I told people they can skip it. I might put a timestamp in the comments just to allow people to skip that, or I might put it in the title of the YouTube video. I hope you all enjoyed the streams. Sorry that some of my opinions were probably a bit like weird and bad. My sleep is fucked. I'm exhausted. I had a busy weekend. I forgot to take notes down for the movies because I was stressed about getting the weekend was very stressful. So if my thoughts for movies are a bit dazed and confused, it's because I was more worried about making sure the festival went smooth and fantastic. I had a great time over necessarily remembering every single thought I had. So I'm doing my best to kind of regurgitate, especially for the Friday / early Saturday movies, kind of regurgitate what my feelings were. It's going to be hard. I'll try and plan next year. I think for next year, because a lot of the issues that were causing my stress, hopefully, knock on wood, should be gone next year. Cross fingers, knock on wood. That I'll be able to take notes in between movies and like process thoughts. So I can do better streams like this, better discussions. I think I'm going to do a great review for Her Blue Sky and Goodbye Dongley's. Well, I'm going to do a review for Goodbye Dongley's. But yeah, thank you for watching, for the people who are watching. And I'll see everybody tomorrow at 7 p.m. for Apex Season 15. New season, new map, new rank split. Very excited. Can't wait to play it. So yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for Apex Legends. I can't wait. I might have people on for that. I don't know. I'll keep people in the loop for that. Also, remind me to clip this out. I forgot to say this. Sean Sullivan, a good friend of mine. You have to watch Code Geass. You have to watch Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion, the TV show. Should be on Crunchyroll, I think. I'll double check. It's a Funimation show. I think. I don't fucking know. I'll double check. But you should watch that anime, and you should watch maybe Her Blue Sky. But it's big. I think you're too manly for this movie. So yeah. Thank you and good night. Goodbye. Mwah. Kissy kisses.